Nerfers, Nerf herders, listen up! Welcome back to the Captain's Commentaries. I'm Captain Xavier, and these are my commentaries. And this is another auxiliary update. The major event season has finally come to an end, thank goodness. I traveled more this year than I've traveled probably in the last decade, and it's been an adventure. And so this first year ended up not going the way that I had expected. I formed the auxiliary thinking that I wouldn't be buying the house in the makerspace for at least another year. And so this year was supposed to be me focusing on the auxiliary, getting it up going to events and organizing all of that. And then ended up just not being the case because I ended up having to put most of my time and energy and a lot of my resources into the house and the makerspace and all of that. And so I ended up going a much more passive route with the big events where I went as an NPC as much as I could because it didn't take nearly as much energy or as organization. And so I got to kind of see what the current state of the auxiliary is, what kind of recruits we had gotten, seeing them in their current state in action. And some of it was just amazing to see. The enthusiasm that I saw and a lot of the talent that we have is just incredibly baffling, and that was awesome. And so I'm really excited to see what's going to happen in between now and the next major event season when we start having Foam Fest and PSU Invitational and Ragnarok Towerfest and N-War and WVZ for next year. All those big HVZs that I'm going to be attending, or big just battle events in general that I'm going to be attending and that I'm going to be calling up the auxiliary for. So for this video, I'm going to be covering kind of a refresher on what is the auxiliary, why I formed the auxiliary, what I'm wanting to do with the auxiliary, and what organizational and structural changes that I'm hoping to finally be able to implement in the coming year, and then kind of segue into my philosophies and views on HVZ game balance and how the auxiliary plays into that, and what I'm going to be doing to try to ensure that we don't cause any problems. Because there were a few problems this year that came up, and sometimes they were well dealt with, and other times they weren't, and that kind of falls on us to a degree. I definitely want to be a lot more proactive to prevent those things from happening. There are things that could have been avoided if there had been clearer communication in a lot of ways. So, what is the auxiliary? The auxiliary is, for lack of a better term, my militia. I formed the crew many years ago in medieval recreation, and it has been one of the most valuable and important things in my life ever since. It's not just the guys that I play with, it's not just a group of friends, it's not just my mercenary company. It is the family that I've chosen. It's the blood of the covenant that is thicker than the water of the womb. They are family to me, and it's why the crew, the full crew, the full voted members and all of that, is very exclusive. I'm very particular about who I let into the crew because of how important a thing it is for me. Whereas the auxiliary is open to everybody because it allows for a lot of the same game time stuff, the being part of the organized troop and getting the training and being a part of the organized military aspect within the game. But it doesn't have quite the close relationship that the crew itself has. I really enjoy getting into the role play of HVZ and in the Nerf in general. And a lot of people don't see HVZ as being a LARP, but it absolutely is. You're either role-playing at humans surviving the apocalypse, or you're role-playing as zombies trying to eat the humans. And it's all live, and it's all action, so it is very much a live-action role-play. It's a LARP. And how much you choose to get into that role-play side of it is entirely up to you. I enjoy going in full bore. I like playing the character of Captain Xavier, and it is very much a character that I play. My name really isn't really Xavier. My real name is Chaylo, but Xavier is a character that I play, and one of the places that I play it is in HVZ, and I really get into it, and I put on the full heavy loadout and the costume and all of that absurdity, and I surround myself with other professional type troops, and we play the professional zombie, killing militia or whatever. because I really enjoy that. I'd always wanted to be in the military when I was a child, and I had intended to go into the military after I got out of college, but during the course of college, I destroyed both of my knees and my lower back. I wouldn't have made it through the physical just to join at that point. And so I'm very much living vicariously in kind of that little dream of always wanting to be a soldier. I get to play that in as Captain Xavier. And I make no bones about that. I enjoy that. It's silly and it's fun and it's ridiculous. I'm a 36-year-old man running around college campuses hunting zombies. It's ridiculous. I don't take it seriously. But I do take playing the characters seriously because I enjoy it. I find I have infinitely more fun playing that character and really get into the whole thing and the formations and the tactics and all of that because I find that fun. And it's not for everybody. And I don't have any problem with people who aren't into that. It's just you play your game the way you want. But do let us play the game that we want, and that's going to come in with the game balance stuff later because the way that I play and the way I'm hoping to get to play with the auxiliary is a very different game than most HVZs are used to, and it can have some issues. The auxiliary is then, like I said, a militia. It's volunteers that I can call up when I go to these events because I can't take most of the crew with me, and the crew isn't very big to begin with, and I'd much rather be able to lead a large number of troops than a handful. It's just more fun for me. In the words of George C. Scott when he played Patton, all my life I've wanted to lead a lot of men in a desperate battle. I enjoy that, and I want to be able to do that, and I can't get enough crew to do that because there just isn't ever going to be enough of us for a lot of reasons, and a lot of the crew that have joined don't have the vacation time I have or the funds to be able to travel that I have or whatever else. And so the auxiliary was something that I realized I could do to be able to call up militia wherever I'm going. Because there's going to be a lot of people going to these events, and many of them might be interested in being part of that professional military game and being the professional zombie hunters with all of the gear and the fancy blasters and the tactics and the running with your knees bent kind of stuff. And so I would be able to have a larger force when I go to these events because I'm going to enjoy that. I enjoy it immensely. So that's what the auxiliary is, but it is still a volunteer and it is still a militia, which means it's not a regular army, and I don't expect members of the auxiliary to be on the same level of training and of militarism as the crew itself, whereas that is very much a part of the crew. Or at least for many of them. Even then, there's some variance within the crew as to how much of that they're really into, but because the game is so variable, whatever role anybody wants to play, I can find a place for it. And that's why the auxiliary doesn't have full uniforms. I don't expect you to be all in black. A lot of people don't like that. Some people just want to be in jeans and a t-shirt. Fine. There isn't ever going to be you must use this hat and this shirt and these pants and these boots and this blaster with these internals. Nothing like that. I did mention in a previous video that we're working on developing a standard issue auxiliary or crew strifle. And that isn't, again, it's not going to be something that you're going to be issued and that you're only allowed to use this, and if you don't have it, you're not going to get to run with the auxiliary. No, that is not what it is. It is for those people who are like, I want to do HVZ, but I don't know what to run. Or the ones who are like, what's a good blaster for HVZ? I'm going to go, here's the specs for a standard issue strifle. Because they will be the right level of power so that they will be under whatever the FPS limit, which is for most big events is 130. So they'll be designed for 130. They will be semi-automatic because I consider that better. They will be magazine fed because I've learned that that's better. They will have an underslung Magnus because for super zombies, Mega is often the only way to take them out. Sometimes you need more, sometimes you need socks, whatever. But it's something. It works. I've run them in HVZs for a decade now, and they work. So that is something where here it goes. And it will have varying levels. So the simplest version will be the 3D printed part that allows you to attach the Magnus to a recon barrel and a retaliator stock on a strife. It could even be a stock strife. That's the bare bones strifle. All the way up to we're designing a lipo stock. So a stock that has a lipo built into it so you can have a really big lipo and not have to have a huge battery door sticking out the side. It'll have a 3D printed barrel that's specifically designed to hold the Magnus and allows you to have a full top rail, side rail, all of that. Alternatively, again, slightly less levels where you can have the top rail and the recon stock, but it's got holders for additional Mega Dart, all sorts of different configurations. But it will be kind of the various levels and degrees of what you're able to afford. because obviously the 3D printed stock and barrel would be a lot more expensive than if you already had a recon barrel and a recon stock. And yeah, but it isn't something that is going to be required. Nothing is ever required of the auxiliary other than wearing the patch, and that's just for identification purposes. But however you want to play, let me know, and I can find a way for it to fit. And that's what the auxiliary is all about. You could be a group of guys who play at your college campus. There's 10 of you, or you're really good. You've played together. You know how each other works. You come to me and say, "Hi, we're so and so. We want to work with the auxiliary." Like, cool. Okay, who's your CO? Okay, you're now Sergeant so and so. Who are your second in commands? Okay, you're now the corporals. What is your game style? Well, we like running missions. We want to go try to complete the objective. Cool. That is your job now. Try to get to the mission as soon as possible. We'll try to draw off the zombies, or whatever. Or you could just be a group of like, we're not into the whole military thing. We really don't like the sir, yes sirs, and the marching and all of that. We just want to go cause as much chaos as possible. Fabulous. You are now a feral squad. Go and cause havoc. Try not to die too early. Hopefully we'll see you at the final. Whatever you want to do. We also have groups that are forming what they're referring to as farce recon, because again, we don't take ourselves seriously. And they're kind of a special forces kind of thing. They're going to, again, be trying to take out mission objectives. They're going to be trying to draw off zombie hordes. They're going to be trying to, all sorts of things. And that's the kind of thing that you can now really start. I'd like you to start organizing if you can. If you've got, a whole bunch of people and you want to try to form a squad, go for it. And you could go for a very specific squad. You want to be mission objective guys. You want to be horde busters. You want to be recon. You want to be skirmishers. You want to be a feral squad. You just want to rush at them and die as quickly as possible. Let me know. What do you want to call yourself? What are your call signs? Who's your commanders? What is your game style? That is all stuff that we will then be able to catalog and keep track of and track. And when you get to the event, you can send your CO to me and say, okay, here we are. Here's our plan. Okay, what do you want us to do? And then before each mission, we'll have an officer's briefing of, okay, I want all the sergeants, all the lieutenants, all whatever. Here's your orders. This is what we want this squad to do. This squad to do. This squad to do. Go forth and do it. And then there will be the main command column, which is where I will be, because I'm old and broken and slow. See above about broken knees and a bad back. For those people that aren't fast or fly, or who just want to really like shooting lots and lots of zombies, because we're going to draw the horde. So the guys I want to carry 500 magazines, I want every round of ammunition in, and I've got my full auto blaster, cool. You're probably going to end up in the command squad because we need the firepower. We need the ammunition, we need the firepower, it's going to be fun. Whatever role you want to play, there is a place for it in the auxiliary. We have roles for non-combatants because we're going to have a forward operating base where we've got extra ammunition, extra water, medical supplies, shade. If you overdo it and you need to go find somewhere quiet and soak your head, there will be, hopefully, we'll start setting up the forward operating base, and we'll need someone to watch that. It'll also be the place that if you get tagged and become a zombie, you can go drop your gear at the auxiliary FOB, and it will be safe. You don't have to worry about it wandering off, or you don't have to go all the way back to wherever your car is. You can take it to the FOB, you can put it there, you can check it in, and it'll be watched by whoever's operating the base. And we will need people to do that. We will need, the parents who are bringing their kids to the event but don't want to play, people who really want to be part of the auxiliary, but they have disabilities or other problems that they're not able to be a soldier in the field. We need logistics as much as we need boots on the field. Absolutely, we need logistics, and that's a big part of what I want to organize. I want us to try to organize things like food and water and making sure everybody knows where the rules are and where the briefings are, and all of that is very clearly understood by all members of the auxiliary, so that you don't have to worry about that. You can just show up and play the game and have fun. That is what the auxiliary is most about, because that is what this game is to me. It's fun. I want it to be fun, and I want to make it more fun for as many people as possible. That's why our motto is more fun for everyone. And that isn't just us. And this is where my philosophy on game balance comes in, because we saw in just even the very, very little organization that we were able to do this year, that we did have the potential to unbalance games if they weren't being well balanced by the moderators. Something that absolutely I want to say up front right here, we cannot break HVZ. It would not matter how good we are, how many of us we are, how powerful we are, we cannot break HVZ. It is too scalable of a game. It is an infinitely scalable game. no matter what we brought to the table, the moderators have complete control over the rules. And they can simply change them or tweak them or modify them as necessary to deal with whatever we throw at them. And a good mod team will do that. They will see, oh, these guys blew through mission 1, they didn't lose a single human. Well, that's no good, because it's humans versus zombies. If there are no zombies, then it's just us walking around campus for 8 hours carrying Nerf blasters. That's boring. That's not humans versus zombies. That's exercise. At the same time, if we all get wiped out in the first mission and there are no humans left, well, then that's a bunch of people pretending to be zombies walking around campus for 8 hours. That doesn't work. It is the job of the moderators and the game designers to keep the game balanced and to keep the flow going. And for that to happen, there need to be a certain number of zombies by the end of each mission. By the end of mission 1, you need 25% zombies. By the end of mission 2, 50%. By the end of mission 3, 75%. Going into the final mission, 25% humans trying to hold something or something. And it varies from game to game, and I've seen some moderator teams that were brilliant at this. And they were able to keep the zombie growth within 5 or 6 of what they were expecting after each mission in a week-and-a-half long game, which is just an amazing amount of control and game balance. And it worked. Everybody was having fun because the game was challenging enough to keep it engaged, and the players understood that, yep, some of us have to get tagged, or there's no fun in the game. And so, no matter how strong we are, there are ways that they can balance it. They can throw supers at us that there is no counter to. That, like, no, this zombie sprints at you and they continue to attack and they are immune to everything until they tag a human. And then they're stunned for 5 minutes. That's a way to deal with it. We can't stop that. And that's fine. That is a way to deal with that. There are other ways that they can throw super zombies. They can scale the timer. So instead of holding the spot for 5 minutes, you must hold it for 15. The longer we have to hold a location, the harder it's going to get. There are ways that they will always be able to balance us. And ultimately, the zombie numbers will always win. If they are given enough time, the zombie horde will always win because we will eventually run out of ammo. Our batteries will run dry. Eventually we will have jams. We will make mistakes. We just won't be able to shoot the zombies fast enough. They will eventually overcome. And that's what I like about HVZ, is that no matter how crazy we get into it and how organized we get, there is always a way to counter it. But that kind of comes down to a good mod team. And that's where the communication with the mod team from us is very important. That's something I don't think came across quite well enough. I did try, and they did kind of try to take it into account. And at least one of the events, unfortunately, the counters that they had in place didn't get implemented. And so there were ways where auxiliary found ways to unbalance the game, and the counter, the balance that was supposed to be in place, didn't happen. And so there was a lot of people who were upset. They're like, well, it's all the auxiliaries' fault. They broke the game. They're like, yeah, but it's your job to unbreak it. Though it does fall on us too, if we recognize that we've taken it to 11 and the mods were just not prepared for that, there aren't enough of them, they're not, whatever reason they're not able to balance the game, it does fall on us as players, as part of the game, to recognize we're ruining the game for other people. There's one thing of, there's wanting to win, and there's winning so badly that it's not fun for the people who are losing. There is a difference. There's challenging and there's getting waffle stomped. And we want to avoid ever waffle stomping past a certain point. Like for one mission, we just go all out, we hold nothing back, and we just absolutely crush them. Sure. Mission 2, we scale it back, if necessary. If the mods aren't prepared to counter it, then it falls on us. But that is something that I will be communicating with the moderators, that, look, this is what we're bringing to the table. You should probably be prepared to scale if necessary. It might not be. We might not be nearly as good as I think we're going to be, but history would show that that's not the case. And they may already be prepared. They may have seen what happened this year and are just going to throw the nastiest stuff, and we're not going to be quite prepared for it, and we're going to get wiped out 5 minutes in, and then we get to go be zombies, and that will be fun. Alternatively, they may discover, oh, after mission 1, yep, these guys have wrecked. So let's bring out the supers, and then they're just going to throw everything at us, and then we get wiped out, and then the supers go on and they wipe out the people who weren't playing at 11, and that's also a problem. And that's game balance, and that's why I've said from the beginning that the auxiliary will work with the mods to make sure that the game is balanced and that everyone is having fun, because I don't want to wreck the game to the point that they don't want us back. And that people complain about us, and oh, those auxiliary, they ruin the game for everyone because they take it too seriously, and it's just not fun for the casual players anymore. And that's a legitimate complaint, and that's something that we will keep in mind. I will also make it very clear to the moderators that, that they are absolutely welcome to come to me and say, hey, can you guys scale it back? You know, we weren't prepared to scale this. We don't want to scale it up high enough to be able to take you guys out, because if the super zombies we come in that were supposed to take you out end up hitting the players who aren't on your level, they're going to get wrecked and it's not going to be fun. Could you just scale it back a little bit? And absolutely, this is what happened at End War. There was only a handful of auxiliary that were really fully, heavily active, but I was there with 4 crew, and we were holding the rear guard for one of the human columns with a bunch of auxiliary, and the zombies just couldn't get through. They had supers, they had tanks, they had boomers. They could not get through our line because we knew what we were doing. And apparently this was happening in a lot of the human columns. In a lot of them, there were good squads, often auxiliary, not always, but in a lot of cases, there were strong rear guards. And the zombies kept attacking the rear guards because it's easier than having to run all the way to the front of the column. And they just weren't getting through. And the zombie numbers weren't growing as fast as they were expected to. And so they came to us and asked, hey, could you scale it back? You know, could you let a couple zombies get through? Could you let a couple humans get tagged? And I wasn't willing to do that because, you know, that goes against everything that is, you know, kind of the crew, and we had a reputation to maintain. But we did then just go find a nice hill to go die on. We wanted to play zombies in the final stand anyway, so it worked out well. So that is something that I will work with the moderators to make sure that we don't accidentally end up breaking the game, because that's not going to be fun, and that's going to lead to less fun for us in the future, and I don't want to do that. So be aware of that. Be very aware of how badly are we winning, and like I said, it may not come up. They may be more prepared for us than we are for them, and we just get wiped out. And that will be fun, because playing a zombie can be a lot of fun. And that's the other side of it, is that it is in my philosophy that as hard as you want to play as a human, you should play equally as hard as a zombie. You should not give up. Oh, I got tagged, I've lost. No, you've switched sides. You're just playing a different part of the game now. And you should play as hard as a zombie as you played as a human, because that's what makes the game fun. And that's kind of I'm going to these events because I want a good fight. I don't want it to be too easy, and I want it to be a challenge. And if the challenge is too much for me and I get taken out, I'm going to then give that challenge to the rest of the auxiliary and the crew that are still humans. I'm going to make the game challenging for them, and I'm going to organize the zombies the same way I organized the humans. We are going to try to wipe out the zombies, or wipe out the humans. And the mods may have to come to us and say, could you tone it down a little? There's 5 humans left and we're on mission 2. Then there is going to be zombie organization as well. And that's the same thing, like I said, with the squads. If you have a group of people who you really like playing zombies, by all means, organize yourself as a zombie squad and go to the moderators and volunteer to be part of the OZs. Alternatively, start out as a feral squad with 1 magazine each and see how long you can last in minute 1 or game 1 before you all get tagged, and then go play as zombies for the rest of the game. That is completely legitimate. However you want to play the game, play it. There are no requirements for what I expect you to do as members of the auxiliary, other than making sure you're not ruining the game for anybody else. But by all means, really get into it. Really find, what do I enjoy? How can this game be more fun for me? And I will try to facilitate that. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I had so much fun just this year seeing the auxiliary in action and getting to lead auxiliary at End War. And I'm hoping to go to at least as many events next year as I did this year. Now that the expense of the house and the makerspace is out of the way, I should actually be able to afford to go to some more events. I am going to be going to England, and I'm hoping to get down to Australia because there are large contingents of auxiliary in both of those places, and I'd love to see their games. I'll definitely be going to End War, Ragnar Oktoberfest. I'm hoping to go to the PSU Invitational. I probably won't go to Jared's Epic Nerf Battle again. That one really wasn't my style of game. I went when I was invited, and I went again with Brett because he was going to it. But not my style of game. There isn't any way to organize the level of chaos that's in that, and so isn't for me. But I may start looking into additional large HVZ invitationals if there are any out there that you know of that I haven't been made aware of. I am going to continue to try to go to the ones that are locally. I'll probably try to get down to OSU, and I might try to go to WWU again. We are hoping to get to Afterworlds again. I don't think the games are going to conflict. They did 4 games last year, and I think they're only doing 3 games next year, and I believe that the additional spacing has offset them from the big games, but we'll see. If it's a choice between Afterworlds and something like End War or PSU, I'll go to one of those instead. So there you have it. There's the update. That's where I'm hoping to take the auxiliary in this next year. There are going to be additional training videos because I want to get into things like formations, squad organization, communications, loadouts. There will definitely be loadout videos because those are just fun in general. There will be all sorts of drill. That's the thing about being a professional soldier. To be a professional soldier requires practice. Drill. You do the same thing over and over and over and over and over until you can't do it wrong anymore. They say that, you'll hear people say that practice makes perfect. It doesn't. Practice makes permanent. If you practice it wrong, you will do it wrong. So you need to practice it perfectly over and over and over again so that when you have to do it under stress, you couldn't do it wrong if you wanted to. You just do it right. And it's things like reloading drills and making sure that you call when you're out of ammo and call when you're back up and watching your sector. These are things that you have to train for. And that's part of the whole professional soldier thing. And that's what makes them so much more powerful, is they have drilled it to the point that they can't do it wrong, and so they do it right, and so they win. But that's another one of those things in the auxiliary of if that's not for you, if that's not the game you want to play, but you still want to be part of the auxiliary, cool. I have roles for you. Whatever part of the game you want to do, I can use that. I will. And if I know that, okay, they're doing this feral squad thing over here, cool. We can focus over here. Go run amok, draw off the zombies, hit their base, whatever, harass their spawn point, whatever needs to be done. Get yourself killed, whatever. We'll make it work. But for those people who really want to get into the soldierly stuff, the militarism, that will be an option because I really enjoy that and I love getting to play with that, and especially when it's veterans or actual active duty soldiers who know way more about being a soldier than I ever will. Those are the guys that are really fun to play with because they understand the part of that I'm into, and they enjoy it and they really get into it, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, there you go. If you have suggestions, questions, comments, concerns, comment section is down below. You can also, on our Discord, we'll be getting this sort of stuff organized, as well as on the Facebook page. We'll start getting more organized and start having dedicated squad chats, and you'll be able to form permanent squads to a degree, especially if you're all going to the same event. And we'll start working on the logistics, making sure that, where is food, we have people who are professional caterers, professional chefs who would love to set up barbecues and stuff like that. If we can get that kind of a thing funding, it'll be, $5 buy-in for food for the weekend, something like that. We might be able to get it down that low. Alleviating those kind of logistics is a huge part of any organization like this. If we can, make it so you don't have to worry about food, you don't have to worry about water, you don't have to worry about your gear. That will make the game a lot more fun. So that's the kind of things that we're going to start looking into. And bangerang.